first half. Here's the opening tap, and it's controlled by Mankato State. We are underway from Hallenbeck. The Mavericks into the front court. They're wearing their purple tops and bottoms tonight with yellow numerals, white trim. Monty Dufault, the point guard, he's got it out on top. They pass it around on the left wing side to Lester Mitchell. Out on top now for small forward Chris Conlon. Now to Dufault, right wing, into Nathan Marks, the big center. Turnaround baseline jumper is no good. Battle for the rebound. Carlson takes it right away from Mitchell. Good steal by Mark Carlson after Les Mitchell had come up with the offensive board. Now Thurston in the front court. Passes out on the wing to Kessler. Into Charnowski. He goes for the basket and draws the foul. First foul of the night will be on Lester Mitchell, the 6'6 sophomore out of Rushford. Mitchell played along with Augustana point guard Dana Grimsrud on that Rushford team that won a Class A state championship in Minnesota high school basketball 2 years ago. And he's a key member of this Mankato State team this year. He fouled Haug Charnowski, the 6'7 freshman who's at the free throw line and misses his first free throw. One more coming. We are 34 seconds into this ball game, a scoreless tie between the Huskies and Mankato, and now St. Cloud State on the board as Charnowski hits the second of his 2 free throws. 1-0 Huskies. Full court pressure by St. Cloud State, a 2-2-1 zone. Long pass ahead, comes in the front court to guard Charles Harris. He has it, goes through the lane, passes off to Conlon, back out. Harris shoots the three-pointer, top of the key, in and out. Charnowski has the rebound. Outlet right, here comes Thurston on the break for the Huskies. It's 3-on-4. OT shoots the three and hits it. They'll say a 2-pointer as Thurston had a foot on the half-moon line, so it's 3-0 St. Cloud State. Backcourt pressure once again as Dufault edges his way up the left sidelines. Passes cross court to Harris. He's still in the backcourt. Whistle. And we've got a 10-second violation on the Mavericks. The pressure by the Huskies in that full court press was not that intense. Mankato State was just a little bit lax moving the ball up the court. So the Huskies get it back on the MSU turnover. St. Cloud State leading 3-0 here. Almost a minute and a half into this ball game. Orion Thurston, front court, working against man-for-man defense. Kessler, left wing to the baseline now. Here's Charnowski, one dribble, back out to the top of the circle to Dean Kessler. Now to Thurston, shoots from the top of the key, rims out, no good. Rebound Mankato State. Mitchell cleared the board. Outlet left comes now and into the front court. Dufault on the dribble. Point guard Monty Dufault. He's got it. Lobs in for Marks. Back to Dufault on the give and go. Shoots the 6-footer. It's in and out. No good. Rebound Charnowski. Ahead to Thurston. OT behind the back dribble. Down the lane. Dishes left. Here's Springer on the baseline. Fakes. Shoots. Misses. It wouldn't have counted anyway as he traveled. Scott Springer, who was playing with that heavily bandaged right hand. He injured that thumb about a week and a half ago. And as a result, his scoring has been down a bit. He had 2 points against Augustana, just 3 against South Dakota State. He's been the Huskies' third leading scorer this year. Mavericks in the front court. Nathan Marks has it halfway up the left edge of the paint. Kicks it back out between the circles now to Conlon. He's guarded by Springer. Whistle, loose ball foul away from the play will be on Carlson pushing underneath. Mark Carlson, the Huskies center, picks up St. Cloud State's first foul of the night. 17:51 left first half. 3-0 St. Cloud State. Entering this ballgame, the Huskies, the top scoring team in the NCC, averaging 85.5 points per game. Mankato State, 5th, averaging 77. Pass in, Nathan Marks, fadeaway 8-footer is way off the mark from the lane. Rebound of the Huskies. Charnowski's third board of the first half. Thurston brings it ahead now on the break. Stops at the free throw line, hands it off for Kessler, cuts down the lane, and Kessler traveled. For the Huskies, their second turnover. And it'll be a backcourt pass in now for Mankato State. Monty Dufault has it working against Thurston. Both teams in the man-for-man initially. Dufault dishes off now to Harris, top of the circle. Bounce pass in the lane. Marks has his back to the basket. Passes off in the corner. Conlon back to Marks. Turnaround 8-footer. Baseline right. No good. And another rebound by Charnowski. So Marks having problems shooting early on. Haug Charnowski becoming an animal on the glass here. Springer has it, left corner for the Huskies, front court. Passes off at the free throw line. Kessler to Thurston, right wing jumper. Yes! A 3-pointer by Orion Thurston. He has both field goals in this ballgame. It's 6-0 St. Cloud State. Dufault now still behind the timeline, looking at a half-court trap, but gets it off on the bounce pass across the timeline to Mitchell. Back to Dufault. Dribbling from left to right on the perimeter. Still has it. Now the Huskies drop into a zone. 2-3 look with Carlson giving Nathan Marks plenty of attention in the middle. Dufault, top of the circle plus to Harris on the right wing. Back to Dufault. Now to Conlon. Wide open. Left wing jumper is good. He is a dangerous three-point shooter. Chris Conlon averaging 52% from three-point range in the first, or in NCC play rather. And now the Huskies turn it over. St. Cloud State throws it away against pressure. That shot for Mankato State was the first one of 6 field goal attempts that they had made. 6-3 Huskies. Les Mitchell checks out of the ball game now, and John McKnight, a 6'9", 220-pound junior, comes in at a forward. Pass in now. Marks tries to save it and does so. Gets it to Conlon in the lane. McKnight has his shot blocked by Kessler, gets it back and banks it in. John McKnight, who started his career at the University of North Dakota, now playing for the Mavericks, has a field goal. It's 6-5 Huskies. St. Cloud State quickly ahead. Thurston on the break has the ball knocked out of bounds, so it'll stay with the Huskies. 5 straight points here by Mankato State after the Huskies had jumped out to the 6-0 lead. Pass in Kessler in the lane. Charnowski tries the 8-footer and hits it. Haug Charnowski shooting over McKnight has his second and third points. It is 8-5 St. Cloud State. Into the front court quickly now is Harris. Dumps it off. Whistle. Foul is called. That'll be on Harris. A charge as he went into Charnowski. Harris penetrating down the lane on transition. Wanted to dish it off for Marks. Did so, but first he was called for charging into Charnowski. Charlie Harris, originally from Flint, Michigan, a junior college transfer for Dan McCarroll and the Mavericks. 8-5 St. Cloud State as the Huskies push it ahead in the front court with Thurston. Lobs down low now on the left block. Here's Carlson. Tries to muscle in against Marks. Lost it out of bounds, but it went off the hands of Conlon. Good defense by Nathan Marks as he absolutely denied the baseline to Carlson, who really wanted to go to the basket, but there was nothing there. And then Mark almost lost it, but it went off Conlon. Pass in. Springer to Thurston, and OT will dribble out on top to start this offensive set. Thurston, dribble between the leg, bounce pass, left baseline. Here's Kessler on the move, running Jay, no good, but he drew the foul from Conlon. 3 on the Mavericks as a team. First foul on Chris Conlon. And Dean Kessler will be at the free throw line. For as much as he plays, Kessler does not shoot a lot of free throws. He's 25 of 33 from the line this year. Free throw here is good. First point for Dean. Compare that to Orion Thurston. Kessler has made 25 free throws. Thurston has made 68. Kessler has attempted 33. Thurston has thrown up 78 this year. OT is much more of a penetrator than is Dean Kessler. Thus, he draws more fouls. Second free throw also good by Kessler. 4 straight by the Huskies. It's 10-5 St. Cloud State. Front court now for Mankato. Cross-court pass comes to Dufault. Right wing takes a dribble, shoots the 3 and hits it. Monty Dufault, the solid point guard with Mankato State's second 3. 10-8. Huskies on the break. Kessler scores. Gets the pass from Thurston on transition. 4 points Kessler. 12-8 St. Cloud State. 15 minutes to go first half as across the timeline now on the dribble. For Mankato State comes Charles Harris. They work it into the right corner. Conlon shoots and nails it. Another 3-pointer for Chris Conlon. 12-11 St. Cloud State. All 3 of Mankato State's, or rather 3 of their 4 field goals have been 3-pointers. Now the Huskies work it down low, and Haug Charnowski's driving layup is good. Charnowski with 5, and it's a back and forth scoring battle right now with the Huskies leading 14-11. Mankato with an opportunity, but Marks misses the layup. Got a good feed from Harris, but Marks couldn't get the short jumper to go down. Thurston, front court, bounce pass down low. Charnowski banks it in and draws the foul. That's 3 baskets early on here for Haug Charnowski, who, of course, is not a big offensive scorer. Haug has been one of the top rebounders this year in the NCC, but not a real strong scoring threat necessarily, but he's already got 7 points and a chance for an 8th here on the 3-point play. That foul was on McKnight, his first, the Mavericks' 4th. Charnowski is at the stripe. Free throw is up and good. So a great start for Haug. 8 points here in the first 5.5 minutes of this ball game, and the Huskies lead it 17-11. This equals their biggest lead. Quickly into the front court come the Mavericks. Conlon, 3-pointer, right corner, misses, no good. Rebound to Marks, and he banks it in. First basket for Nathan Marks on the offensive glass. 17-13 now, St. Cloud State. Thurston across the timeline on his dribble. Bounce pass to the high post now comes to Charnowski. Looks to the basket. Kicks it back out on the wing to Kessler, into Carlson, left block. Mark puts up the off-balance jumper, no good. And then Carlson has whistled for the foul as he cut in front of Marks trying to get the offensive rebound. Carlson has both Husky fouls so far in the first half. Defensively, coming into this weekend, Mankato State 4th in the league in scoring defense, allowing 70.1 points, 70.1 per game. The Huskies are 8th, allowing 82.3 per contest. The Mavericks, the top field goal shooting team in the league, 51%. The Huskies are 3rd. MSU is 2nd in free throw percentage. The Huskies 4th. Jumper from the right side by Charles Harris won't go. Rebound cleared by Charnowski. Ahead to Thurston. In the lane, on the break. Springer puts it up. A spinning, twisting layup, no good. And then a foul is called. Springer got too far underneath the cylinder and tried to spin it up there on a 360 move. Couldn't get it to go down. And the foul is on St. Cloud State's Chris Bodette, who had just checked in, the 6'9" sophomore center out of Rochester. Bodette in for Carlson. Now Kessler will come out and get a breather. He's replaced by Tim Remy, the 6'5" junior from Blaine and the Division I transfer from the University of Wyoming. Again, the backcourt pressure by the Huskies, but it's a receding type pressure as into the front court on his dribble comes Dufault. Gets it off the top of the circle to Harris. In the lane, McKnight, his jump hook comes out of there. And the rebound corralled by Bodette. Gets it off for now for Thurston. OT's into the front court, pulls up 16-footer, swish. Thurston starting out strong from the field. He's hit 3 of his first 4 shots. The Huskies as a team, 8 of 10 so far from the field. Thurston with 7. It's 19-13 St. Cloud State. Pressure now on the point guard, Dufault. He dishes off for Harris. Top of the circle, guarded by Remy. Works off a pick, and then Harris throws it away. Intercepted by Remy. Ahead on the break, Thurston gets it off for Charnowski, who banks it in. Charnowski with 10. The Huskies looking great off transition. They've got their biggest lead at 21-13. Monty Dufault now holds up his left fist as he works the dribble across the timeline. Dufault stops, top of the circle. Dishes off for John McKnight. Passes to his right on the perimeter to Conlon, to Dufault. Top of the circle jumper, nothing but net. Dufault with the Mavericks' 4th three-pointer. He and Conlon have 2 each. That's keeping the Mavericks in the game right now. 4 of their 5 field goals have been trays. 21-16 St. Cloud State. Front court Huskies with Springer on the low right wing to Bodette, top of the circle, lobs in. Charnowski, reverse layup is good. Haug is red hot right now as he's got 12 of the Huskies' 23 points. St. Cloud State leading 23-16. Into the front court on his dribble now comes Dufault as he works the offense for the Mavericks. Still at the top of the circle. Passes off for Marks, who's way out at the top of the key as well. Now he dumps it off on his left for Charles Harris. Harris backing off on the dribble, guarded by Remy. Left wing, Conlon open for the 3 and hits it. Another three-pointer for the Mavericks. That's 3 of them for Conlon. Dufault has the other 2. The Mavs so far 7 of 17 unofficially from the field. 23-19 St. Cloud State. Thurston gets it off in the bounce pass to Charnowski at the free throw line. To Remy. In the lane now, Bodette. Turnaround 8-footer is off the front of the rim. Battle for the rebound, goes out of bounds and off Bodette, so Mankato State will get the basketball. Greg Kesty checking in for St. Cloud State, replacing Charnowski. Listen to the hand for Haug as he comes out. Kesty, the 6'7" sophomore out of Eden Prairie. For Mankato State, Lester Mitchell is starting forward, checks back in. And also for the Mavericks, Marshall Gifford, a 6'3" freshman out of Elkader, Iowa, checks in as well at a forward. McKnight comes out. Mavericks front court on the right baseline now. Here's Mitchell. Takes a dribble, looks into the lane, gets it off in the bounce pass on the baseline, and Dufault hits the jumper. Monty Dufault, the 6-foot point guard, got free on the baseline, gets his 3rd basket. He's got 8. 23-21, 5 straight by the Mavericks. They're down by 2. Stuart Kramer also into the ballgame for the Huskies, and Kramer throws it away. Intercepted by Dufault. Here's Dufault on the break, missed the layup, but he was fouled by Remy. Kramer, the 6'4" sophomore out of Osseo High School, threw that ball away for the Huskies. Dufault came up with the steal. It was a 2-on-2 break for Dufault, and Remy came over his back. First on Remy. Team fouls are 4 now against the Huskies. In fact, 4 aside here with 10:44 to go first half. Dufault with a chance to tie this game. Free throw is in and out, no good. First free throw the Mavericks have attempted tonight. 1 more coming. Mankato State leads the league in assists per game, 19.3. Huskies are 4th in that stat, 18.3. Second free throw is good by Dufault. 23-22 St. Cloud State, and Dufault takes it away from Thurston on the steal. Dumps it off, knocked away by Kesty, but recovered on the left sideline by Gifford. Marshall Gifford driving layup in the lane and puts it in. A high arcing shot off that driving move by Gifford. He scores to put Mankato State on top, 24-23. That's 8 straight points by the Mavericks and their first lead tonight. Into the front court now for the Huskies. Stuart Kramer has it. On the right wing side, dribbles across the top of the circle, gets it off for Thurston, guarded by Dufault. Thurston dribbling to his right along the half-moon line, passes off for Kesty on the perimeter. Back out to OT on that right wing, and now Thurston will dribble back out near the timeline to set a new offensive play for the Huskies. 15 on the shot clock. Thurston gets it off. Remy in the lane, running jumper from 8, no good. Tapped up and off, that's no good. And the rebound, Gifford for Mankato. So the Mavericks quickly push it ahead now in the front court. Conlon out to Dufault, 3 if it counts. Yes! 3 3-pointers each for Dufault and Conlon. That's 11 straight for the Mavericks, and the Huskies call timeout. 9:45 to go first half. Mankato State 27, St. Cloud State 23. Stand by for more St. Cloud State Husky back. 9:45 to go first half. St. Cloud State basketball on the Husky Radio Network. John Schroeder from Hallenbeck Hall. Huskies off their timeout now into the front court with Orion Thurston across the timeline. Bounce pass to Stuart Kramer between the circles. Right wing to Greg Kesty. Looks in the lane. Gets it off for Remy. He's open for the 3. That's off the front rim. Rebound out of bounds. Last touched by Nathan Marks. So it'll stay with the Huskies. Speaking of rebounding, the Huskies are second in the NCC this week in rebound differential. That is how many rebounds you have compared to your opponent's rebounds on the average. Huskies second in that stat. Mankato State comes into this week 6th. Shot by Kesty is no good, but Greg follows his own miss from the lane and scores on the follow-up. First 2 for Kesty. 27-25 Mankato State. Marshall Gifford, front court, 19-footer is good. And they'll say a 3 for Gifford, so just beyond 19. Oh, the Mavericks now have hit 7 3-pointers, and the Huskies back the other way to score as well. That makes it 30-27. And now back the other way, another 3 for Conlon. We are in a shooting fest, folks. So many points being scored. I didn't even see who got that last St. Cloud State basket. Conlon with his 4th 3-pointer. He's got 12 points. Now Thurston shoots the 3. That's off the back rim. Rebound Mankato State. Last basket for the Huskies scored by Stuart Kramer. We're now at 33-27 Mankato. Into the front court, Conlon. This time he'll shoot a fadeaway 15-footer and hits it. These guys are unconscious right now. Mankato State, after starting slowly from the field, 1 of 6 early on, are now red hot from the field. Now the Huskies into the front court. Kesty chases down a loose ball, left corner. Gets it out for Kramer. On top now to Thurston. St. Cloud State down by 8, 35-27. Remy, 3-pointer, right corner, no good. Offensive board by Kesty. Puts it back up. He is fouled. Marks went for the block, but he was whistled for the foul, his first, the Mavericks' 5th, and Kesty will be at the free throw line to shoot 2. Thurston and Remy coming over to the sidelines now. Kramer also leaving the ball game. Kramer and Remy actually will come out. Thurston will stay in. He's just talking to Butch Raymond. Kessler and Springer back in for the Huskies. 8:01 left first half. 35-27 Mankato State. The Huskies were up by as many as 23-16. But since then, the Mavericks have been on a tear. Free throw by Kesty, no good. One more coming. Charnowski now will come in and replace Bodette at center. Some of the individual numbers in the league. Scoring-wise, Nathan Marks 3rd in the conference, as we mentioned. Behind Chris Kuhlman and Chris White, Marks averaging 19.4 points per game. Second free throw by Kesty is good. 35-28 Mankato State. Mavericks in the front court now with point guard Monty Dufault, the Waseca High School graduate. Gets it off for Gifford, top of the circle. Passes off and knocked away out of bounds as Charnowski cut in front of Marks and nearly had a steal, but it went out of bounds off of Howard. So the Mavericks keep it, and they've got a sideline pass in. Comes to Dufault out top now. Guarded closely by Thurston. Dufault spins to his left on the dribble. Now back to the right across the free throw line, and then he'll dribble it back out on top as he found nothing in the lane. Dufault still with it on the dribble. Back to his left on the reverse pivot atop the cross of the circle. Now gets it off on the right wing side. Here's Matt Potter, who's just checked in, the redshirt freshman forward. Now to Marks, top of the circle, lobs underneath. Mitchell was the intended man, but the ball knocked away, recovered by the Huskies. Charnowski ahead to Thurston. Left side pass, Kesty pulls up, 12-footer, in and out, no good. And the rebound comes to Marks. So the Mavericks maintain their 7-point lead, coming up on the 7-minute mark remaining first half. As Dufault front courts it on the dribble. Gets it off for Matt Potter. He's out of Alden, Minnesota. 6'4", redshirt freshman. Now on the left side to Gifford. He also being a redshirt freshman. 2nd year in the program. Dufault on the right wing, looks in for Marks, lobs into the right block, turns to the basket, nothing there, passes off in the lane, and traveling with it is Mitchell. Turnover number 5 on Mankato State. The Huskies have 7 so far. John McKnight back in now, and he will replace Marks at the post for the Mavericks. After Marks, 3rd in the conference in scoring, the Husky backcourt of Dean Kessler and Orion Thurston are tied for 4th in scoring. Both OT and Dean have 147 points in conference play coming into tonight. That's an average of 18.4. Huskies in the front court. Kesty at the free throw line. Looks to the basket, then brings it back out to Thurston. OT has it on the right wing. Springer, ball above his head, working against Gifford. Takes 2 dribbles, then a bounce pass to the high post. Kesty double teamed in the lane, back out to Charnowski. Now to Thurston. OT will back off again on the dribble. 15 on the shot clock. Thurston at the top of the key with his back to the basket. Passes to the right. Here's Kessler. Takes 2 dribbles with the left hand. Now to Thurston. He penetrates to the left baseline, and OT draws the foul with 6 on the shot clock. Dufault reaching around. First on Dufault, 6th as a team on the Mavericks. Baseline passing coming from the Huskies to the left of their basket front court. Thurston looks in. Gets it in. Kessler takes his first 3 of the night and nails it. Boy, it's not usually that Dean Kessler waits until there's 6 minutes left and a half to take a 3-pointer, but he did there. He's got 7, 4 straight by the Huskies, 35-31 Mankato State. Dufault in the front court. Gets it off from Marshall Gifford. Now to Les Mitchell, to Matt Potter on the right wing. Off balance, running jumper, banked off of there, no good. Rebound to Gifford, and he puts it in. Marshall Gifford out of Iowa hit that fadeaway jumper on the follow-up from the lane. He has 7, 37-31 Mavs. Chris Conlon getting ready to check back in now for Mankato State. Kesty, front court, right wing for the Huskies. Takes a dribble, gets it off. Kessler at the free throw line. Running 14-footer is good. Leaning into the lane. Kessler with a nice looking move. The running J, he's got 9. Back to a 4-point Mankato State lead at 37-33. 5:10 left first half. It's been a high scoring, well shooting first half for these two clubs. Front court now. Here's Les Mitchell at the free throw line for the Mavericks. Looks in, passes off on the wing instead. Potter shoots and nails it. Another 3-pointer for the Mavericks. That's 9 trays in the first half for Mankato State. They keep going at this pace, and they're going to set an NCC record. 40-33 Mankato State. Huskies front court it now. Charnowski has it above his head. Looks into the lane, brings it back out top to Kessler, dribbles to his left. His running 3-pointer, that's off the front rim. Offensive board to Springer, whistle, and a foul is called. Springer is going to be called for pushing off, freeing himself for that offensive rebound. Springer's first foul, and 5 as a team on the Huskies. Backcourt pressure now by St. Cloud State as Mankato will toss it in the backcourt. Brian Lindsay, 6-foot senior point guard, a backup to Dufault, checks in now for Monty. And Chris Conlon also comes back in for the Mavericks. Conlon has it. Now to Lindsay on the right wing side, guarded by Thurston. Gets it off from Mitchell at the free throw line. Les Mitchell backs off, giving plenty of room to Mitchell as Kesty. Now McKnight, top of the circle, on the left wing to Gifford. Loose ball, not a foul, but a 3-second violation called against Mankato State. Mavericks' 6th turnover. Kramer comes back in now for the Huskies, replacing Springer. And Nathan Marks comes back in, and Les Mitchell will hit the bench for the Mavericks. Thurston now into the front court for the Huskies, who are down by 7 with 4 minutes left first half. Thurston lobs it in the right corner. Kessler now to the baseline. Here's Kesty. His running jumper is an air ball as he was well underneath the basket and backboard, and Marks had him completely screened off from the cylinder. Rebound Mankato. Lindsay into the front court. Dishes to the right wing side. Here's Gifford. Back to Lindsay between the circles. He'll back off now on his dribble back near the timeline. To the high post. Marks looks in from the free throw line. Out to Lindsay. Dribbles left to right on that half moon line. Lindsay open. His shot is rejected out high by Kesty. But then we've got a foul called, and it'll be on the Mavericks. As Lindsay trying to get the ball back after Kesty's rejection. Lindsay picked up the foul, his first. And that'll put the Huskies into the bonus. Team foul number 7 against Mankato State. Chris Bodette comes in now for Kesty, replacing Greg at the post position. Nathan Marks, as we mentioned, 2nd in the NCC in rebounding behind North Dakota's Dave Vonish. Marks averaging 8.9 per game. Hug Charnowski right behind Marks. He's 3rd in the conference, 8.5. Free throw by Thurston is good. OT's 8th point, one more coming. Mark Carlson 8th this week in the NCC in rebounding. Second free throw by Thurston now, trying to pare this lead to 5, and he does. Both free throws good by Thurston. 40-35 Mankato State. 3.5 minutes left, first half. Brian Lindsay now across the midcourt stripe for Mankato on the left-hand dribble. Still has it out top. Lindsay with it, stops on the wing, gets it off for John McKnight at the top of the circle. Back to Lindsay on the left wing. Top of the key plus, here's Marshall Gifford. Looks into the lane, has the ball between his knees, fakes the dribble, then dumps it off for Conlon, right wing. Top of the key to Nathan Marks. Now he moves down low as he passes it off for Lindsay. To the high post, McKnight outside the paint. Gets it off. Gifford fakes the three, takes a dribble, shoots and scores. From 15 feet out, Marshall Gifford. He's really contributing off the bench. He's got 9. 42-35 Mavericks. Under 3 minutes to go, first half. Bodette in the front court. Now they work it to Kessler. His pass goes off his own man and out of bounds. Kramer inadvertently cut in front of Kessler, and then as Dean tried to pass it back out of bounds, back on top rather, it went off of Kramer and out of bounds. Turnover against the Huskies. That's 8 turnovers against St. Cloud State. In the front court, Gifford passes down low on the right block. McKnight spinning move is blocked by Charnowski. Loose ball comes to Kessler. A 2-on-1 with Haug. Back to Charnowski, and he jams it. That's 14 points for Charnowski, and what end-to-end action by Haug. First he makes a great rejection, then he helps Kessler on the break and gets the basket. Now Conlon's top of the key jumper, rims out. Battle for the rebound comes to Marks, and he lays it in. Only the second basket for Nathan Marks. 44-37 Mankato State, 2 minutes to the half. Thurston quickly in the front court, spinning, turning jumper from the left edge of the lane. Spins out of there, no good, and the rebound comes to Marks. So the Mavericks maintain their 7-point bulge, and they're into the front court now with Brian Lindsay calling out a play. Double high post offense here for the Mavericks. Marshall Gifford has it on the right wing side, dribbles down low, then reverses his dribble, brings it back out on top to McKnight. Top of the circle to Lindsay on the left wing. Now to the high post, free throw line extended to Marks. Gets it off for Conlon, dribbles to his right through the lane, right corner pass, comes to Gifford, and he nails another 3. That's 10 trifectas now for Mankato State. It's 47-37 Mavericks. This is their biggest lead. 1:15 to go, first half. Thurston in the front court. To the high post, Charnowski. Left wing, Kessler fakes the 3. Takes a dribble, shoots from 19, swish. A 2-pointer for Dean Kessler. He's got 11. The Huskies hanging tough. 47-39 Mankato with an even 1 minute left, first half. As Lindsay pushes it ahead on his dribble. Passes off, low right wing side to Gifford. Back out top now, the edge of the half moon line, right side perimeter to Conlon. High post pass comes off to Marks, takes 2 dribbles, then stops at the free throw line to McKnight, now to Lindsay, left wing. Gifford down low on the left block. Marks fakes and then banks it up and in, shooting over Charnowski. Marks now with 6. 49-39 Mankato State. Into the front court comes SCSU with half a minute to go in the first half. Kessler gets the pass from Thurston. OT gets a return pass from Charnowski. The Huskies will go for the final shot. 20 seconds left to go as Thurston continually passes off to his teammates and then receives return passes, and OT out near the timeline. 15 left. Thurston dribbling right to left out near that midcourt stripe. 10 seconds to go. Kramer, Charnowski on the right wing. Bounce pass to Kessler. He's open from 21 feet out. Yes! 3-pointer by Dean Kessler with 5 seconds left. Pass in now for Mankato, and they will not be able to get the final shot off. So the Huskies working for that final shot well and getting the 3-pointer by Kessler. But Mankato State, thanks to some red-hot perimeter shooting, leading the Huskies by 7 at halftime. Our score, the Mavericks 4-7 as we start our second 20-minute half of basketball. And here's the pass in. Orion Thurston has it out on top for the Huskies. Gets it off for Dean Kessler, left corner. Out to Tim Remy, now to Thurston. Kessler has it, right corner, back to OT, top of the circle plus. The 3 that we've mentioned, plus Haug Charnowski and Mark Carlson starting this half for Butch Raymond and the Huskies. Thurston at the point to Kessler, left wing, puts up the 3-pointer. It's an air ball. Kessler really forced that one up. Rebound is Charnowski. He missed the follow layup, and then a jump ball after Charnowski missed the layup. He tied it up with Mitchell, and Mankato will have the pass in. Charnowski missed the easy follow, but he was in traffic, so maybe it wasn't quite as easy as it looked. And then he and Mitchell tied it up. Mankato now has the ball, and they are into the front court. The Mavericks have it with Monty Dufault. Passes off at the top of the circle to Charles Harris. Chris Conlon has it left wing. Passes to the high post. Nathan Marks dribbles in the lane. Puts up the off-balance jumper. Rolls out of there. No good. Battle for the rebound. Comes to Marks, and he banks it in. 8 points for Nathan Marks. 51-42 Mankato State. They lead by 9. They led twice by as many as 10 in the first half. St. Cloud State to Thurston, right wing. Carlson down on the right block. Out to Charnowski. Shoots under duress. No good. Rebound Carlson. He's fouled. Charnowski a step beyond the free throw line, taking his jump shot under heavy pressure from Charles Harris. It was an air ball, but the loose ball came to Carlson underneath, and he drew the foul from Nathan Marks. Second foul on Marks, first on either club this half. And Mark Carlson, who did not score in the first half, will shoot a double. First free throw by the sophomore is good. 51-43 Mankato State. Mark Carlson coming into the ballgame 7th in the NCC in field goal shooting percentage. Scott Springer, his teammate, is 8th. Nathan Marks 3rd in the conference. Marks shooting 66% from the field this year. Second free throw also good. Carlson makes them both. 51-44 Mavericks. Front court now for Mankato. Conlon in the right corner clears it out for Dufault. Top of the circle plus to Mitchell. Back to Dufault on the right wing, and he'll dribble it way out near the timeline. Monty Dufault dribbling way beyond the half-moon line, right to left on the perimeter. Pass in the lane now. Here's Mitchell, fakes the shot, then tries the running Jay, way off the mark. Rebound loose for a moment, comes to Thurston. Ahead to Remy, all by himself. Remy goes in for the jam. First points for Tim Remy in dramatic fashion. 4 straight by the Huskies. 51-46 Mankato on top, and now an official's timeout as that breakaway rim stayed down in the collapsed position. And Charles Harris comes in and does his civic duty and jumps up and snaps it back up in the horizontal position. Well, it's a good thing you got breakaway rims with people like Tim Remy. Those great leapers. Remy on the fast break all by himself. He dreams about that play. Mavericks up by 5 as they bring it in the front court now in the right corner. Harris has it, passes down low on the baseline. Jump hook by Marks is an air ball, and the rebound is Charnowski. He almost threw it away as he tried to get an outlet pass, and the ball goes to the Huskies. Official Jay Salmon at first ruled Mankato basketball, but it obviously went off Dufault, and then he changed his decision. He had just pointed the wrong way. He meant to say Huskies, and St. Cloud State gets it. Into the front court, the Huskies come. At the free throw line, here's Charnowski to Kessler. Bobbles it, shoots, and scores. Kessler got the pass from Haug, and he kind of bobbled it, double clutched at the top of the circle, but still hit the jump shot. That was a 2-pointer by Kessler. He's got 16. The Huskies have scored 6 consecutive points now, and they're back to within 3. 51-48. Dufault, top of the circle, front court for the Mavs. Pass down low now comes to Marks. Kicks it out to Harris. He's at the top of the key, goes down the left edge of the paint and draws the foul. Charles Harris, who did not score in the first half, the starting off guard for Mankato State, the JC transfer. Drew the foul there on Kessler. First on Dean, first on the Huskies this half. It was on the drive, so it'll be a baseline pass in, or will it be shots? No, they will say it was in the active shooting. So Harris will go to the free throw line. John McKnight has come in now for Mankato State, replacing Mitchell at the power forward. At the line is Harris. The free throw off the back rim. Don't count it. No good. Mankato's been a good rebounding team this year. Last Saturday, they were out-rebounded by South Dakota State, and that's the first time all year that the Mavs have been out-rebounded by an NCC opponent. They had the first half edge over the Huskies in this ball game. Second free throw also no good. Harris misses them both. Huskies in the front court. Carlson, power move, has it blocked from behind by Marks. Loose ball comes back to Carlson, and he's fouled by Dufault. Well, Nathan Marks with a nice block in the lane, but then the ball came loose. Carlson got it back, and Dufault reached in, picking up his second and his team's second this half. The Huskies have scored 6 in a row, and they're back to within 3, and Carlson has a chance to further trim that lead now as he'll be at the line. Monty Dufault, the man who just made the foul, comes into this ball game leading the NCC in steals, averaging 3.5 per game. Free throw by Carlson is good. Dufault also 7th in the league in assists. Charlie Harris, his backcourt mate, is 8th. Orion Thurston, of course, the NCC assist leader. OT comes into the weekend averaging 7.4. Second free throw also good for Carlson. That's 8 in a row by the Huskies. It's 51-50 Mankato State. Backcourt pressure now. Dufault has it. Dribbles by Thurston into the front court. The Mavs holding on to that scant 1-point lead. Conlon has it out on the right wing. Bounce pass, top of the key plus. Comes to Harris. Now to Dufault on the right wing side. Back to Conlon working against Remy. Bounce pass down low on the baseline. Comes to Marks. It's deflected. Intercepted by Charnowski. 2-on-2. Haug goes in and is fouled. On the transition, Charnowski was way ahead of the other man in the break, Kessler. So Haug took it to the basket and drew the foul from Harris. So the Huskies on a nice run here. 8 consecutive points to put them right back into this contest, and it's 51-50. A couple of NCC updates for you. 18 minutes to go in the second half. North Dakota State leading Northern Colorado 48-37. Free throw by Haug is good, his 15th point, and that's a season high now for Charnowski. Gifford is back in at a forward, replacing Harris for Mankato. 3 minutes left in the first half, and South Dakota leading South Dakota State 29-22. Second free throw also good by Haug, so the Huskies take the lead as they have scored 10 consecutive points. It's 52-50. Now whistle, we've got a foul. No, a timeout is called by Mankato State as Dufault brought it in the front court, and Dan McCarroll's seen enough. The Huskies have not come back here in this stretch in very dramatic fashion because 6 of those 10 points were from the free throw line, but we'll take it any way we can get it. The Huskies with 10 in a row. They now lead 52-51, 16:28 left. This is St. Cloud State Husky basketball. He's got them now howling like wolves out there after Crunch went through a little trampoline slam dunk contest during their timeout. Again, that timeout taken by the Mavericks, and Mankato State now with a pass in. The Mavs at midcourt trailing by 1. Mankato was up 49-42 at halftime, but the Huskies have scored 10 straight points to regain the lead 52-51. The Huskies led through about halfway through that first half, and then the Mavs really picked up their shooting pace. Now Conlon shoots, top of the circle, it rims out of there, no good. Long rebound comes to Kessler. He starts a 3-on-3 break. Kessler down the middle, cuts to his left, puts it up, banks it off the mark, no good, but he drew the foul. And that will be the 4th foul on the Mavericks this half. It'll go against Conlon, his second. 4 different Mankato players have 4 fouls each. 4 of the 5 starters. Did I say 4 fouls? Rather 2 fouls. 4 of the 5 starters have 2 fouls each, as Kessler's first free throw is good. Conlon, Marks, Harris, and Dufault each have 2 fouls. Kessler is 3 of 3 from the line tonight. He's got 17. Second one also good for Dean. Huskies with 12 in a row now, 54-51. St. Cloud State 8 of 8 from the line this half, and that's been the big factor in the Huskies getting back in this ball game. Dufault front courts it now for the Mavs. Gets it off at the top of the circle to Marks. He looks into the lane and passes to his right side to Conlon. Dribbles to the top of the key and then stops right there. Bounce pass high post. McKnight looks in the lane. Gets it off now from Marshall Gifford, top of the circle on the right wing side with 15 on the shot clock to Conlon. Now they reverse it, left wing side, pass to Dufault. In the lane, Marks, fadeaway, 8-footer off the back rim. Rebound to Carlson. Gets it off now on the outlet. Here's Thurston on the fast break. OT cuts to the lane, pulls up, 13-footer, swish. First 2 this half for Thurston. 14 consecutive points for the Huskies. It's 56-51. Quickly in the front court for the Mavericks now comes Gifford. Leaves it for Dufault, who almost lost it. Kessler went for the steal. Dufault almost traveled. Now the pass off Conlon. Cuts to the lane. Puts it up. Off balance. Whistle. And a blocking foul on the Huskies. It'll be on Carlson. Carlson trying to help out on the defense. Stepped in, trying to take the charge, but was called for the block on that move to the hole by Conlon. 3rd foul on Carlson, 2nd team foul this half on the Huskies. And Conlon, who had 14 in the first half, including 12 on 4 3-pointers, will be at the line trying to score his first second half point. Free throw is no good. Mankato State now 0 of 3 from the line this half. They've been outscored by the Huskies this half, 14-2. Second free throw, no good. Rebound, St. Cloud State. So the Mavericks are ice cold from both the field and the line right now, and the Huskies push it ahead quickly. They've scored 14 straight. Thurston banks it in. OT went around Dufault on the move to the hole, and that's 16 straight. What a run by the Huskies. 58-51, St. Cloud State. Huskies led by as many as 7 in the first half, so this equals their biggest lead. Conlon shoots the 3. That's an air ball out of bounds. The ball goes over to the Huskies. Listen to the crowd. Conlon was so red hot from that range in the first half, but he didn't even draw iron on that shot from just to the right of the top of the circle. Stations, we'll pause here for an ID break in a moment, but I don't want to do it right now. We may miss a basket by the Huskies the way things are going. They've scored 16 in a row to take a 58-51 lead. Chris Baudette in the game. He's got it. High post. Passes off to Kessler. Penetrates. Dumps it off. Sharnowski shoots the 8-footer. Banked it off. No good. Rebound Kessler. He shoots from the lane. That's no good, but Kessler was fouled by Gifford, and that may be after the shot. We'll see how they rule. Kessler got that loose ball rebound a step inside the free throw line. And then Gifford came up and fouled him after Kessler had released the ball after the shot, so no free throws. It'll be a pass in instead for the Huskies. Gifford's foul, his first, the 5th this half on the Mavericks. St. Cloud State pass in, sideline left. Tim Remy checks in. He's got it now for the Huskies. Passes into Kessler. Thurston, Baudette at the high post free throw line. Out to OT. 3 if it counts. Rims out of there, no good. And the rebound by Marks for the Mavericks. Outlet left now comes to Dufault. Here come the Mavs in the front court. Dufault to Marks. Right corner to Gifford. In the lane, and Mitchell has it stripped away from him cleanly. Loose ball comes to Thurston. And jump, yes! 18 straight for the Huskies. It's 60-51, St. Cloud State's biggest lead. Front court for the Mavericks. Here's Dufault. Gets it off top of the circle. Whistle and a timeout called by Dan McCarroll and the Mavericks. He really had no choice. Huskies are playing so well right now that the Mavericks have got to find a way to put a finger in the dike, or this one's going to be over soon. 60-51 St. Cloud State with 13:47 on the clock. Stand by for more St. Cloud State Husky basketball.
Place every week or so.
Oh, you do it, honey. If you're good, they'll even let you wheel the shopping cart out to the parking lot to unload the Claire Brune.
Say, this is a supermarket.
Distributed by Burnix of St. Cloud.
Well, Mankato State has finally broken that string of points by the Huskies. Marshall Gifford's follow-up basket off a Matt Potter miss makes it a 60-53 St. Cloud State lead, breaking the string of 18 straight points by the Huskies. And then St. Cloud State back the other way, and a foul is called on Monty Dufault. 6th foul on the Mavericks as Dufault reached in against Thurston on a penetration move down the lane. 3rd foul on Dufault. Pass in baseline left for the Huskies. Thurston looking in. Lobs it in now, but it's too short for Sharnowski. Deflected, comes right to Remy. He shoots a 3 from the left corner. No good, out of bounds, off of the Huskies. So it goes to Mankato State. So the Mavericks have finally broken that string of consecutive points by St. Cloud State. The Huskies, though, have still outscored the Mavs 18-4 this half. Now, Dufault falls down in the back court against Thurston, but he maintained possession of the ball, got it off for Mitchell in the front court. Mitchell passes off, and now down the lane goes Gifford, and he is fouled. Well, that was not a designed play by the Mavericks as they were out of sync. Marks was way out near the timeline, helping out on the offense as Dufault was kind of just out of his rhythm near the timeline, trying to pass the ball off. He did to Marks, who hit Gifford cutting down the lane, and Gifford was fouled. Remy got him as he went by. 3rd foul on the Huskies. They've got that as number 1 on Remy. I thought he had 2, but apparently that's his first. And Marshall Gifford is at the free throw line. Free throw is good. The redshirt freshman out of Iowa equals his season high with that free throw. He's got 15, now 16. So a new career high for the redshirt freshman. 16 points, 4 straight for the Mavericks. 60-55 St. Cloud State. Thurston goes by 2 Mavericks in the front court on the dribble. Brings it out near the midcourt stripe. Pass comes to Kessler. He's working against Gifford. Kessler dribbling to his right. Dumps it off right corner. Sharnowski. Right wing side now to Thurston. Top of the circle. Remy cuts to his right on the dribble. Puts it up on the run. Blocked out of bounds by Mitchell. Remy trying that running off balance jump shot halfway down the paint, but Mitchell stayed with him and made a nice rejection. So the Huskies will pass it in now. 12:47 on the clock. St. Cloud State leading by 5. Thurston gets it in left corner. Remy had it knocked away from behind and out of bounds. Knocked away from him by Gifford. So it'll stay with the Huskies, and they'll try another baseline pass in. They set up that box formation, break people off of that formation, look to pass it in, and finally do. Thurston out top to Sharnowski. Now back to OT on the right side perimeter. Dribbles to his right, away from a Kessler pick. Thurston's running jumper, low right angle, no good. Rebound comes to Matt Potter for the Mavericks. Clears it off. Here's Brian Lindsay, the backup point guard, who's into the ball game for Dufault. Lindsay dribbling to his right, way out near the hash mark. Still on the dribble. Gets it off. Top of the circle plus to Potter. Left wing to Gifford. Back to Lindsay. Top of the key. Here's Matt Potter on the right wing. Dumps it off. Baseline right. Mitchell moves around his man and banks it in. Nice quick move by Les Mitchell getting around Beaudet. First two of the night for Mitchell. 6 in a row for the Mavericks. This game of streaks continuing that way. 60-57 St. Cloud State. 12 minutes left. Kessler on the right wing. Beaudet at the high post. Back out to Dean Kessler. Shoots the three and hits it. Third three-pointer for Kessler. He's got 21 to lead the Huskies. 63-57 St. Cloud State. Across this timeline now. And working his dribble is Brian Lindsay, the point guard out of Illinois. Dishes right to Potter. Gets by Remy. Shoots the three. It's up and off the back rim. Long rebound to Kessler, and he was fouled by Gifford. And that foul will put the Huskies into the bonus. That's team foul number 7. Number 2 is an individual on Marshall Gifford. And with 11:34 to go, St. Cloud State, which has made all 8 of its free throws this half, the Huskies will be back at the free throw line now for the remainder of the ball game. St. Cloud State has made 15 of 17 free throws so far tonight. Individually, the Huskies have one of the top 10 free throw shooters in the league. You know, Ryan Thurston, he's 6th in percentage, 83% in conference play. Nathan Marks is 10th in free throw percentage. This free throw is good by Kessler, giving the Huskies a 64-57 lead. One more for Dean. It's good. He's made 6 straight from the line tonight. He's got 23, and the Huskies with 5 in a row lead at 65-57. 11 and a half minutes left in regulation. Brian Lindsay front courts it now for the Mavs. Gets it off to Gifford, top of the circle plus. Dribbles to his right, still on the dribble. Gets it off near the timeline to Potter. Top of the circle here to Marks. Gets it off to Lindsay. Bounce pass down low in the paint. Marks spins to his right. Kicks it back out to Lindsay on the left wing. Out of the top of the circle. Gifford fakes the shot. Goes down the lane. Tries the running 8-footer. That's no good. Rebound Carlson. He out-battled Marks for the loose ball. Ahead to Thurston on the break. Kessler. 3 if it counts. Yes! 26 for Dean Kessler. 68-57 Huskies. They've scored 8 straight. And this is the Huskies' biggest lead of the night at 11. Greg Kesty comes in now for St. Cloud State. Stations, I neglected to get that break for you. Let's pause now. 10 seconds for station identification here on the Husky Radio Network.
You're listening to Husky Basketball on AM 1240 WJON St. Cloud. It's 10 past 9, 34 degrees.
Back at Hallenbeck Hall, St. Cloud State with a huge second half effort. The Huskies leading 68-57 as a foul is called with 10:35 to go, second half. Mankato in its front court, drawing the foul from Greg Kesty, who was reaching in away from the ball. Kesty, who had just come back in, picking up his first foul tonight, and the 4th this half on the Huskies. Monty Dufault back in for the Mavs. He passes in, baseline right, to Mitchell. Mitchell looks in, then kicks it back out on top to Gifford. Now between the circles to the point guard, little Brian Lindsay. Back to Dufault, right wing. High post, free throw line pass. Comes to Marks, off to Dufault. Shoots from 18, that's off the front rim. Rebound to Mankato State. Gifford on the left baseline, goes to the basket. Had his shot partially deflected by Kesty, who will be whistled for the foul. So the second foul here in the last couple of minutes on Greg Kesty. And at the free throw line now will be Marshall Gifford. Gifford, who leads this club in scoring with 16, and the free throw is good. 17 now for the redshirt freshman out of Iowa. Second free throw also good all the way. 68-59. St. Cloud State's lead is down to 9. Thurston bothered by both Mitchell and Lindsay, but OT beats the both of them on the dribble across the timeline. Thurston, top of the circle plus, gets it off to Kessler in the left corner, guarded by Gifford. Kessler will shovel it back out on top to Thurston. He's checked by Lindsay up beyond the top of the key. Now to Remy in the lane. Tries a turnaround 13-foot fadeaway in and out. Off-balance jumper by Remy, and the rebound is cleared by Marks. To Lindsay, ahead now to Gifford. Pulls up, shoots from 19 and hits it. Just inside the three-point arc. Marshall Gifford now with 20 to lead the Mavs. They've scored 4 in a row. 68-61 Huskies. Entertaining ball game. Almost an NBA-like pace to this one. Remy in the front court. Fakes the three from the left wing. Gets it into Kesty. The turnaround jump hook is good. Kesty shooting over Mitchell. Greg's second basket tonight. He's got 5. 70-61 SCSU. Lindsay now will back into the front court on his dribble, directing traffic as he works his way against Kessler. Lindsay gets it off from Mitchell. Top of the circle extended. Left wing pass comes to Dufault, and then as he threw it in the lane, Kesty reached around Nathan Marks and picked up his 3rd foul. Kesty's 3rd. 6 on the Huskies. Now Charnowski will check back in after an extended breather. And Tim Remy comes out for the Huskies. Greg Kesty also back into the game, and Scott Springer, or Kesty coming out rather, and Springer checks in with 9:05 left. 9-point Husky lead. Pass in for the Mavericks in their front court. Now they work it down low to Marks. Spins to the basket, no shot. Passes back out to Gifford, who nails a 3. Gifford with 23 on the night, his 3rd three-pointer, but that's the Mavericks' first trifecta this half after hitting 10 of them in the first half. 70-64 St. Cloud State. Charnowski, top of the circle, front court for the Huskies. Clears it off for Thurston. St. Cloud State was down by 7 at half. They now lead it by 6. Kessler off balance, running 15-footer, no good. Rebound off the board, comes to Springer, and he's fouled. Kessler thought that he was fouled out on the perimeter by Gifford. Dean's walking around with his hands out as if to say, what does it take to get a foul called here? As he threw up that off-balance prayer of a 15-foot jump shot. Didn't make it. It did draw iron. The rebound taken by Springer, and he was fouled by Mitchell. That's Mitchell's 2nd. Springer will be at the line. Scott has not scored tonight. As we mentioned, he's had 5 points combined in his last 2.5 games here. Free throw is up and good. In talking to Butch Raymond before this ballgame, Butch said that Springer is not as aggressive as he has been, but that you can't fault him for that because playing with that right thumb injury, it's kind of a self-preservation mechanism. He doesn't just want to go after loose balls and scrambling all over the floor like he usually does. That's his game. But he's not playing his game right now, and thus his scoring is off. 2nd free throw, no good. So 1 of 2 by Springer. 71-64 St. Cloud State. Mavericks will bring it ahead now in the front court. Lindsay gets it down low on the right baseline. Turnaround jump hook is good. That's Joe Belka seeing his first playing time. His first points. Now whistle and a charging foul on Springer back the other way as he bumped into Gifford. Boy, I'll tell you, Marshall Gifford is having a big second half for the Mavericks. Drawing the charge right there. He's scored 11 points this half. He has 23 to lead the Mavs on the night. 2nd foul on Springer, 7th on the Huskies. Ball control foul though, so no shots. Mavericks in the front court. Here's Dufault. He is fouled. Springer went for the block and came over the shoulder of Dufault and sent Monty reeling, so Springer now has 3 fouls. And Dufault will be at the stripe. Springer will come out. And back into the ball game is Tim Remy. NCC score update. Northern Colorado has come back against North Dakota State. The Bears now leading the Bison in Fargo, 67-64 with 7 minutes left in that game. Free throw by Dufault, no good. And at halftime, South Dakota leading South Dakota State 39-31. Huskies lead this one by 5, and they're on the front court with 7:50 left. Thurston on the left wing to Remy. Now in the lane, here's Carlson down the paint, jams it in, but there was a foul before he slammed it down. Carlson made his move down the paint, and he was fouled by Marks, who reached in. Nathan Marks picking up his 3rd foul, and Carlson will shoot the bonus. Mavericks lost several good players off their team of a year ago, most notably Rich Kriener, a center forward type who was honorable mention all NCC last year. Kriener was 20th in the league in scoring, 5th in the conference in rebounding, and 8th in field goal percentage. Mark Carlson now shooting the bonus. It's good. Carlson has made 5 straight free throws this half for the Huskies. Huskies have made 12 of 13 this half as a team. 2nd free throw is also good. So all 6 of Carlson's points have come from the line and all this half. 73-66 St. Cloud State. Brian Lindsay working the dribble in the front half here for the Mavericks. Bounces it off top of the circle. Dufault fakes the shot, then shoots and hits. Dufault faked to get Remy in midair, and then Dufault nailed the top of the key jumper. A two-pointer. He's got 14. Husky lead us down to 5. Here's Dean Kessler's running jumper. That's good, and he was fouled. The foul will be on Kessler, rather. The basket will count as Kessler banged into Marks. So they will count it for Dean, but he picks up his second foul, and Mankato gets it back. That's 6, let's see here, 10, 12, 14, that's 14 this half, 28 on the night for Kessler. So a big scoring night for Dean Kessler. And back at the other end now is Nathan Marks, as after Kessler released that ball on that driving layup, he was called for the foul against Marks. So Marks shooting the free throw, and it's good. His 9th point. Nathan's been averaging 19 per game in the NCC, 15 overall this year. So he's under his scoring average, or under his pace so far. Second free throw also good. Now he has 10. 75-70 St. Cloud State with 7:20 left in regulation time. Behind the timeline, Mark Carlson gets it ahead, almost traveled, gets it off for Thurston, passes back out. Kessler wide open for the three. It's good. And that's 31 now for Kessler. 78-70 St. Cloud State. One of those nights for Dean where he is red hot from the field. His high point effort this year has been 33. Front court, Mavericks. Conlon's three, left wing, rims out, no good. Tapped up and in. Belka will get credit for the basket. He was one of 3 Mavericks going after that follow-up, and Belka got it. The 6'7" freshman out of Dilworth, his second basket. 78-72. Huskies by 6 again. Baseline jumper by Charnowski, no good, but he was fouled by Belka. And that's 10 fouls now on the Mavericks. This would have been a 2-shotter anyway, as Charnowski was fouled in the act of shooting. As we mentioned, Kessler now unofficially with 31 points for the Huskies, and his season high was 33 in the Huskies' win over Michigan Tech on December 15th. Free throw is up and good by Charnowski. 79-72 Huskies. Haug's 17th point. He had 14 in the first half. This is a season high for Charnowski. Second free throw by the freshman forward is up and good. Rolls around and drops. So that's 18 now for Haug. 80-72 St. Cloud State. Mankato back the other way now. Brian Lindsay has it. Working his dribble, top of the circle, gets it off on the left wing. Conlon passes down low on the left block. Marks turnaround jumper is no good. He forced it up short on the rim. Marks battles for the offensive rebound, gets it back, has it blocked out of bounds by Kramer. So the Mavericks will keep it. Stuart Kramer, who had just come back in at the small forward for the Huskies, the sophomore. He's in there now along with Thurston, Charnowski, Remy, and Thurston. I said Thurston already. Who else is in there? Carlson's in there as the 5th Husky. Kessler's getting a breather on the bench now with 6:05 left. Mavericks passing it around the perimeter. Conlon open for the three, top of the circle. He missed it. Rebound Charnowski, hands it off for Thurston. OT starts a 3-on-3 break. Thurston down the middle against Lindsay. Lindsay knocks it away, and it's recovered by Dufault. Great defense by the Mavs. Boy, it is tough defending anybody at this level, but especially on the break, because you got to move so fast. Lindsay with a lightning-like move there to knock it away from Thurston. And Brian Lindsay has it now on the front court. Gets it off, top of the circle to Conlon. Right side perimeter, pass comes to Dufault, top of the key, and then to Conlon on the left wing side. Conlon dribbling along that half moon line, cuts to his right, goes to the baseline, shoots on the run, long, no good, tapped up and no good by Belka. And the rebound comes to Kramer. Off to Thurston, another 3-on-3. OT cuts to his right, doesn't see an advantage, so he backs off, and he'll be content to start the half-court offense now for the Huskies. St. Cloud State up by 8 with 5:10 left. Stuart Kramer comes way out to get a pass from Thurston between the circles, back to OT. Lindsay with him, way out on the perimeter. Gets it off for Carlson, back to Thurston. Huskies have 20 seconds with which to shoot. Thurston way out near that midcourt circle, working his dribble, passes off at the free throw line to Charnowski, hits a cutter. Remy going through the lane, and Remy traveled. He bumped with Marks in the lane as Remy was receiving that pass, and that threw Tim's rhythm off a little bit. He traveled, took an extra jump step. Charnowski will get a blow. He'll come out, replaced by Kesty for the Huskies. Change at the power forward spot for Butch Raymond. 80-72 St. Cloud State. 4:45 left as Mankato State comes into the lane trying to refine the magic that they had in the first half when the Mavericks made 10 of 13 three-pointers to take that 7-point halftime lead. Dufault has it, right wing, goes down the lane, has it stripped away by Thurston. OT starts a 2-on-1 break. Left wing, Kessler banks it in and draws the foul. And for Dean Kessler, that equals a season-high 33 points, and he'll have a chance to surpass that season high as the three-point play opportunity coming off the foul by Brian Lindsay. .33 points for Kessler. Free throw is good. So a season high for the junior college transfer from Iowa. Out of Esterville, Dean Kessler with 34 tonight to lead all scorers. 83-72 Huskies. They equal their biggest lead. Now Mankato back the other way on a holding foul on Kessler as Lindsay went to the baseline on a move and Dean reached in. 3 fouls on Kessler. And at the free throw line now will be Brian Lindsay. He has not scored tonight. He's played about 8 to 10 minutes here in relief of Dufault. Right now he's in there with Monty as Dan McCarroll really using a 2-point guard set. Free throw is no good. Second one coming by Lindsay. That one is good. So the Mavs now 7 of 14 from the line this half. Lindsay makes 1 of 2. It's a 10-point St. Cloud State lead, 83-73 with 4:10 left. Carlson rifles it in the front court to Remy to break the full court pressure. Out to Kessler between the circles, guarded by Dufault. Kessler on the dribble. Gets it off for Carlson. Left wing, hands it off for Thurston. Goes to the baseline. Thurston is called for the charge. And the Husky fans can't believe it. As Marks and Gifford converged on Thurston, and Butch Raymond is hopping on the sidelines as well. Referee Tom Perot made that call. Thurston slow to get up. As he went to the basket, a charge was called on Thurston, but most of the partisan crowd here felt that it was an obvious block by Gifford, but it isn't called that way. That's 10 fouls now as a team on the Huskies and a timeout called by St. Cloud State. 3:56 left, 83-73 St. Cloud. Back. At the free throw line is Marshall Gifford. The free throw is no good, in and out. Gifford, who was fouled on that move to the hole. Second free throw is good. 1 of 2 for Gifford. He leads the Mavericks with 24. 83-74 Huskies. Now back on the break, Remy with a hanging midair move, and he scores. Remy off transition, a good feed from Thurston. Tim has 4. 85-74 Huskies. This equals their biggest lead. The Mavericks working around the outside now. Pass comes to the baseline. Marks banks it in. Off the feed from Gifford. Nathan Marks with 12. And the Mavericks hang tough. Down by 9 again. 85-76. 3.5 minutes left in regulation. Thurston on the right wing side for the Huskies in the front 48 feet of this court. Now Thurston will back off on his dribble. Gets it off to Kessler on the left wing. And then back out to OT. Thurston drives right, spins back to his left in the lane, banks it up and off, no good. Battle for the offensive board. Carlson takes it away from Marks. He banks it in, and there's a foul called. What an effort by Mark Carlson as he and Marks went up 1, 2, 3 times, jumping with those quick strides off the floor, going for that loose ball rebound. Carlson finally tore it away out of the hands of Marks, banked it in, and drew the foul. First field goal of the night for Mark Carlson. He's got 8 and a free throw coming. Could give the Huskies their biggest lead. That's 4 fouls on Marks. Free throw is short, no good. Rebound to the side, controlled by Belka. Mavericks down 87-76. Long jumper, right corner is no good by Gifford, but the loose ball rebound is corralled by Dufault. Fires it down low on the right block. Marks goes to the basket and is fouled. Charnowski went for the block and got some of the ball, but also called for the foul. Foul on Charnowski is his first of the night. And at the free throw line now will be Nathan Marks. Free throw is up and good. As we mentioned, Marks 10th in the conference in free throw shooting percentage. Second one is also good. So he's made all 4 of his free throws tonight. He's got 14 points, and now a backcourt foul on Mankato. The Mavericks in full court pressure, and Joe Belka whistled for the foul for reaching in, his second. That'll bring the Huskies back down to the other end. Correction, it was Monty Dufault called for the foul, and that's his 4th. So Dufault and Marks with 4 fouls each. Kessler's free throw is good. That's 35 points, a career high for Dean Kessler. Well, I hope this game doesn't go to overtime for one simple reason, and that is Kessler has scored so many points. In my scorebook, I'm already into the overtime section. I've run out of room. 36 Kessler, he makes both free throws. 89-78 Huskies. Mankato in the front court. Out on top is Dufault. Gets it off for Lindsay on the right wing. Bounce pass to the block. Right side. Marks. Cross-court pass comes to Gifford in the left corner. He had to run it down there. Dufault passes in the lane. Knocked away. Sharnowski knocked it right back to Dufault on the left corner. Now to Marks at the high post. In the lane. Belka completely rejected that shot by Sharnowski, and Belka goes flying. A foul called on the play, but boy, what a spectacular block by Haug Sharnowski. Belka was going for the one-hand, right-hand slam through the lane. It was a nice pass by Marks. Nobody was there for the Huskies. Belka sensed that, went up for the jam. Sharnowski met him head-on, streaking through the lane. He blocked the ball, there's no doubt about it, but got Belka with the body, and Belka's free throw is no good. Listen to this crowd. They are really enjoying this ball game tonight. A supreme second-half effort by the Huskies. Second free throw, no good. Rebound, Sharnowski. Here comes Thurston with 2:20 left, and the Huskies up by 11. Orion Thurston across the timeline, and he's fouled by Lindsay. So that'll put OT at the stripe. Could be a busy last 2+ minutes here for the Huskies at the free throw line. Mankato's not out of this ball game, not with the way they shot three-pointers in the first half. And the Huskies, who have shot free throws very well tonight, will get a chance to continue this pace. Our figures have them as 18 of 20 from the line this half. Make it 19 of 21 as Thurston hits the first of his 2 throws. OT with 16 tonight. That's just about his average. 90-78. This is the Huskies' biggest lead. Second free throw also good. Thurston 4 of 4 from the stripe tonight. Mavericks quickly push it ahead with 2:10 left in regulation. Right corner pass comes to Gifford from Lindsay. Out to Dufault. Top of the key. Dumps it off to Lindsay. He'll shoot the 3 from the left wing. That's good. Brian Lindsay, who not very often will take a shot, not to mention even a three-pointer. But he made that one. It's 91-81. St. Cloud State up by 10. Carlson bothered in the backcourt. Mankato State with a steal. Pass ahead. Belka goes in and banks it up and in. 6 for Belka, and a quick timeout is called by Mankato State. So the Mavericks score 5 straight points just like that, and illustrate how quickly they can get back into a basketball game. And with that three-pointer, all on the St. Cloud State University campus. Pass in for the Huskies. Thurston almost had it knocked away, and it is. It's out of bounds, goes to Mankato State. Thurston with an ill-advised pass as it went off a Maverick player, and then last touched Mark Carlson, so the Mavericks get it. They're down by 8 and a chance to pair that lead more. Dufault passes in out of Gifford. Top of the circle, pass comes, and then back to Gifford. He'll shoot the 3. That's short on the rim, no good. Loose ball is saved for a moment by the Mavericks, but it comes to Remy. He leaves it for Thurston. Ahead to Sharnowski, and he jams it. Sharnowski with a monster jam with 1:25 left. That makes it 93-83 Huskies. Lindsay, he's open. Right wing, shoots the 3, in and out. Battle for the rebound comes to Sharnowski, and he is fouled. That'll be on Marks, and that'll be the 5th and final foul on Nathan Marks, and he'll leave the ball game. So the Mavericks' leading scorer and rebounder fouls out, or does he? Scoreboard has 4. I had Marks for 5, so he's still in the game. Beg your pardon, I thought he had 5. 4 fouls on Nathan Marks. But he is in dangerous territory, obviously. Haug Sharnowski now at the stripe. Haug has already scored a season-high 20 points, trying to give his team an 11-point lead. Free throw no good. The Mavericks are 5-1 this year in games in which Nathan Marks goes into double figures in both scoring and rebounding. Well, he's definitely into double figures in scoring. I got to believe he's in there in boards as well. So it looks like they're going to drop to 5-2 in that stat. Second free throw also no good by Haug. He missed them both. Mavericks back with 1:05 left. Gifford open, left corner, three-pointer is off the backboard. No good. Hit high off the backboard. Now out to Dufault. He takes a three and nails it. Dufault cans the three-pointer. So that breaks the school three-point record for Mankato State. Moments earlier, they had tied the school three-point record with their 12th of the night. St. Cloud State, backcourt pressure. Pass in now comes to Thurston. 55 seconds left. Thurston's pass deflected, almost loses it in the backcourt, and then OT calls a timeout. That was a heady move by Thurston. The Huskies have plenty of timeouts with which to work. As Thurston, working against pressure, had his pass deflected, then it bounded off of Mark Carlson. Thurston
On North Benton Drive, Sauk Rapids.
Pass in for the Huskies comes to Tim Remy off a pick play. Remy streaks into the front court and has his layup attempt blocked out of bounds by Nathan Marks. No, that's going to be a foul on Marks, and that will be 5 now on Marks. So we had thought that he fouled out earlier. He has officially fouled out of the ball game now. 5th foul on Nathan Marks. 5th time this year that Marks has fouled out of a ball game. Well, that's a lot of times to foul out. Mankato State playing its 18th game tonight, and Marks has fouled out of 5 of those. Free throw by Remy rolls around and goes in. So with 49 seconds left, the Huskies trying to ice it here at the line. They lead 94-86. Second free throw also good by Remy. 9-point Husky lead. 45 seconds left. Brian Lindsay quickly up the right side. Mankato State has to hurry. Pass to the sideline, knocked out of bounds. And it'll stay with the Mavericks. One other North Central Conference final in now. Northern Colorado has upset North Dakota State 74-73 at Fargo. Driving layup by Lindsay is good. 95-88 Huskies. 35 seconds left. Kessler lobs it in the front court to Sharnowski. He fires it back out near the timeline to Carlson. Half a minute to go. Kessler near the midcourt stripe. He's double teamed and fouled by Lindsay, who picks up his 4th. So Kessler will be at the line. Once again, Northern Colorado winning just for the 2nd time all year as the Bears upset North Dakota State tonight 74-73. Our earlier final had North Dakota beating Nebraska-Omaha 74-65. 12 minutes left at the Dakota Dome. South Dakota leading South Dakota State 49-40 as Kessler rolls in the free throw. 23 this half for Dean, 37 on the night. Second free throw in and out, no good. One other NCC score. Augustana leading Morningside 75-71, 7 minutes left. Dufault's long three-pointer is good. And Mankato now ties the NCC record for three-pointers as they make their 14th on the night. That was a 24-foot shot by Dufault from the top of the key, making 14. Pass in for the Huskies. Thurston steps out of bounds and loses it. Pass in from Carlson to Thurston. OT lost control of his dribble. It went out of bounds, and it goes over to Mankato State. 17 seconds left, 5-point Husky lead. Mavericks pass it in the front court. Mitchell gets it into Lindsay. Shoots from the top of the key. A 24-footer is good. Lindsay hits a 24-footer. Pass in now for the Mavericks. We've got a whistle. And the officials consulting on something here as it's a 96-94 ball game. We had an officials timeout, 12 seconds left, St. Cloud State basketball. And now Tom Perot, our referee, will come over and explain why he stopped play to Butch Raymond. And I am not sure why he did. Off that pass in, the ball had just come in. And Perot whistled down play. I don't know why, but now it'll be thrown in against full court pressure. 12 seconds left. Boy, the Mavericks are making this a hard-stopping finish. 96-94, Huskies lead. Full court pressure. Carlson will pass it in. 12 seconds left in regulation. And Carlson calls a timeout. Super defense by the Mavericks. The Huskies couldn't find anybody to get the ball into, so they had to call a timeout. Looking to get it in. Does so to Kessler, and he is fouled. Now, wait a second. We had 12 seconds moments ago. Then they put 17 back on the clock. So that is why Butch Raymond was protesting. When Carlson initially called the timeout before he could get that baseline pass in, there were 12 seconds on the clock. The officials put 5 more seconds on the clock. So it started with 17. Pass came into Kessler, and he was fouled. And Kessler now will shoot 2. Free throw, no good. Foul was on Belka. Kessler misses the free throw. So it's still a 2-point lead with 15 seconds left. Second free throw is good. 1 of 2 for Kessler. Here come the Mavericks. They're down 97-94. 12 seconds left. Lindsay shoots the three-pointer and hits it. Lindsay hits the three-pointer. We're tied at 97. Timeout called by St. Cloud State. Unbelievable. 5 seconds left, and we're deadlocked at 97. That's 16 three-pointers on the night for the Mavericks. Backcourt pass in for the Huskies. We could be headed for overtime. Thurston throws it up from midcourt. No good. It was tapped in at the buzzer, but no good. It won't count. As Charnowski and Remy collided underneath the St. Cloud State basket, going after that midcourt air ball by Thurston, they collided with each other. One of the 2 of them tapped it in, but it came after the buzzer, and Charnowski is laying flat on his back and injured. Charnowski is hurt, and they're going to check on him right now. And Butch Raymond is still jawing with Tom Perot, as Raymond is not happy at all about that extra 5 seconds that were put up onto the clock. Mankato State has not played an overtime ball game yet this year. Here's the opening tap, and it is controlled by the Mavericks. Ball comes to Belka, and Mankato State is into the front court. Brian Lindsay has it, dishes off in the right corner. Here's Gifford. We're tied at 97 as we head into the 5-minute overtime. Lindsay, top of the key now to Dufault. In the lane, Mitchell's turnaround 6-footer is good. It rolled around and dropped. Mitchell's second basket all night. He's got 4 points. Mankato has the first basket of the overtime. It's 99-97. 4.5 minutes left. Thurston, front court Huskies, to Kessler on the left wing. Takes a dribble. Fakes the jumper. Turns to the basket. Nothing there, so he kicks it back out to OT. Thurston, top of the key plus. Works to the right on his dribble. Still has it. Dumps it off to Remy on the wing. 20 on the shot clock. Remy fires it to the baseline. Kessler dribbles out. Shoots the 3 and misses. It's long on the rim. Rebound Lindsay for Mankato. Mavericks into the front court. Just over 4 minutes left in the overtime. Mankato leading 99-97. Pass to the left comes to Gifford. Top of the circle plus. Pass now to Dufault. Lindsay, right wing, passes into Mitchell. Spins, turns, and scores. 2 straight baskets by Les Mitchell, and Mankato leads it 101-97. 3:45 left in the OT. Thurston, front court, open, shoots from 19, rims out, no good. Tapped up and off, no good. And the rebound controlled at the side by Lindsay for the Mavericks. So Mankato has this game in its hands right now. 3.5 minutes left. They lead it by 4. Brian Lindsay, front court. Passes to the left wing. Here's Dufault. Down low on the left block. Spinning to the basket is Mitchell, and he traveled. Mitchell got around Kesty on the first move, but then Carlson, helping out on the defense, forced a travel by Lindsay. Huskies will pass it in backcourt with 3:20 left in the overtime. St. Cloud State down by 4. SCSU in the front court now with Thurston dribbling to his right along the half-moon line. Lobs in for Carlson. He's got it. Banks it up and missed the layup, but draws the foul. It'll be on Mitchell, his 3rd. And Carlson, who in the second half made 6 of 7 free throws, will be back at the free throw line.
I felt that.
Mark Carlson now at the stripe. They'll be shooting 2. We're well beyond the point of 10 fouls per team here. Free throw is good. Huskies' first point of the overtime. It's 101-98 Mankato. 3:08 left in the 5-minute overtime session. The sophomore 6'7" center Mark Carlson's second free throw is good all the way. So it's 101-99 Mankato State, and the Mavericks have the basketball. Brian Lindsay, who's played so well in a backup point guard role in the second half and here in the overtime. He's into the front court. Gets it off for Dufault on the wing. To Gifford. Now to Lindsay, left wing. Down low to Belka. Fadeaway jumper. Left baseline is good by the freshman forward, Joe Belka. He's got 8, all coming since the second half began. 103-99 Mankato State. Thurston into the front court. Mavericks are 3 of 3 from the field here in the OT. Kessler has it down the lane, lays it up with the left hand and puts it in. And that's 40 points for Dean Kessler. 40 on the night for Kessler. Into the front court now, Brian Lindsay for Mankato. Dishes off on the left wing side to Marshall Gifford. Now to Dufault. Right wing side to Lindsay. Bounce pass back to Dufault, left wing to Belka. Left baseline, dumps it off in the lane. Lindsay has it knocked away, out of bounds. Last touched by the Huskies. (103-101) Mankato State. 2:09 left in overtime. Mavericks with a pass into the right of their basket, front court baseline. Dufault out to Lindsay. The pass comes. Lindsay backs off on the dribble. He's guarded by Kessler. Still top of the circle. Lindsay now dumps it off to Gifford on the left wing. To Dufault, top of the circle. He's checked by Thurston. Back to Gifford. Shoots the 3 off the back rim. Rebound Huskies. First shot that the Mavericks have missed here in the overtime. And the Huskies with a chance to tie or take the lead. 1:45 left in the OT, and the man they call OT has the basketball, Orion Thurston. Now they work it around on the right wing side. Loose ball foul is on Lindsay, and that'll be 5 on Brian Lindsay as he was holding Thurston underneath the basket. And Lindsay is the second Maverick to foul out of the ballgame. And as we mentioned, the 6-foot senior point guard out of Oak Park, Illinois, had played so well in the second half. He, maybe more than anybody, sent this game into overtime. Lindsay hit the 3-pointer that tied it into 97 and sent it into overtime. He had 3 3-pointers all coming late in the second half. 12 points all in the second half for Lindsay, and now he's gone. Lindsay, who came into this ballgame averaging 3 points per game. His 12 points was a season high. And now he will leave the game, and he gets a great hand from the Mankato State faithful, and rightfully so, as Brian Lindsay played his ears off tonight. At the free throw line, the Huskies' best foul shooter, Orion Thurston. The free throw is good. And the Huskies are back to within 1. It's 103-102 with 1:39 left in overtime. Now Brian Lindsay and Nathan Marks have both fouled out of this ballgame for the Mavs. Second free throw is good, and we're tied. This is our first tie of the night at 103. 103 aside with 1.5 minutes left in the overtime. Mavericks in the front court. Out on the right wing side is Charles Harris. He replaced Lindsay. Harris hasn't played since early in the second half. Dufault, left wing, passes in for Belka. Fadeaway 6-footer, no good. Off the rim, whistle, foul is called, and it'll be on the Mavericks. Looks like Mitchell came over the back. Fourth foul on Les Mitchell. And they'll come back down to the other end for a free throw. Huskies were 24 of 30 from the line in the second half, and they're 4 of 4 so far here in the overtime. St. Cloud State with what I think is going to prove to be the Huskies' best free throw shooting effort of the season tonight. That's kept them in the game. Free throw is by Springer, and it spins out, no good. Another one coming for Scott, trying to give his team the lead with 1:20 left in the OT. Second free throw, Springer is up and good. Huskies' first lead of the overtime, 104-103. Monty Dufault now, positioned at the point for the Mavericks, and he front courts it for MSU. Gets it off for Conlon in the lane. Turnaround jumper by Mitchell is good. Mitchell's third field goal of the overtime. 105-104 Mavericks. Whistle and a blocking foul on Dufault, and that'll be 5 on Dufault. Dufault stepped into Thurston, so Dan McCarroll has now lost both of his natural point guards as Dufault also fouls out. Dufault leads the ball game with 20 points, equaling a season high for him. Boy, this has been a game of records and season highs and you name it. I'll tell you what else. This is going to be one of the highest combined scores for an NCC game in recent memory. 3 different Mankato State players have fouled out. For Dufault and Lindsay, for each of them, it's the first time they've fouled out of games this year. Free throw by Thurston is good. And we're tied again at 105. One more coming for Orion Thurston. Second free throw is also good. And the Huskies are back out on top. 106-105 with 1 minute left in the overtime. Into the front court comes Charles Harris. He may have to be the point guard here for the Mavericks. Pass out to Conlon, right wing. In the lane, Mitchell fakes, then shoots the 8-footer, rolls around and drops. Wow, this guy's on fire in the overtime. Mitchell has 8 of his 10 points in the OT. It's 107-106 Mankato State. 35 seconds left in overtime. Into the front court come the Huskies. They've turned the shot clock off. 30. Kessler shoots the 3. No good off the front rim. Rebound Belka, and Belka is fouled. Carlson bumped Belka after he got that rebound with 23 seconds left. St. Cloud State worked the ball around to Kessler on the left wing. Dean was about 23 feet out. He had that fatal moment of hesitation, and then he decided to take the three-pointer. And that just that instant of hesitation seemed to throw off his rhythm. He missed the shot. Belka got the rebound. That's 4 fouls on Carlson. Belka's free throw is no good. So it remains a 107-106 Mankato State lead. 23 seconds left. Second free throw is good. Belka makes 1 of 2, and a timeout is called by Mankato State. So we're going to take a timeout ourselves here on the Husky Radio Network. The Mavericks lead it by 2 in overtime. 108 Mankato State. Backcourt pass in by the Huskies. Thurston has it. Across the timeline with 19 seconds left. Thurston guarded out top by Harris. Gets it off for Remy. 15 seconds left. Kessler, top of the key. 10 seconds remaining. Thurston, the Huskies will get 1 shot here, hopefully. 7 seconds. Thurston, top of the circle. 5 seconds to go. Gets it off for Remy. 3 seconds. 2. Shoots the 3. Off the back rim. No good. There's the buzzer. What a comeback victory for Mankato State. The Huskies got the three-pointer by Tim Remy, but it did not go down off the back rim, and the final score is Mankato State 108, St. Cloud State 106 in overtime. The Mavericks win it, a huge victory for Mankato State and Coach Dan McCarroll. A game in which they trailed by 13 points late in the second half, but through a record that ended up setting a North Central Conference standard for three-pointers, they stormed back to win it in overtime. That final again, Mankato 108, the Huskies 106 in overtime. We'll have a summary coming up in a moment. You're listening to St. Cloud State Husky basketball.